RX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to be your friend in the deep, dark night, who's here to keep you company, who's here to take your mind off of stuff. Tonight's episode of Make Great Pets, a story about how great pets can be and how they can be there and turning points in your life, and how sweet that could be. It's our episodically modular series. Oh, but this is begin before the podcast even begins. I got mixed up there. You may be like, where am I? Okay, so this is Sleep With Me, a podcast that puts you to sleep. And I do get mixed up. This show does take some getting used to. It's here to keep you company and be your friend while you fall asleep, because you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime where you have a friend to help you out, to keep you company, take your mind off stuff, to tell you some silly tales. Just like a bedtime story. I mean, here's the thing. I've said it before. It may not be considered polite. How come kids get all that stuff? How about, that's where I made the show. I said, how about some bedtime stories for adults? And you'd say adult in nature or hubba. And I say, not exactly. Maybe more. It's so, I would say adult in sensibility, but who are you kidding? Bringing out the kid and the adults with a bedtime story for adults that a kid could listen to. That's what this show is. Hopefully I'll remember that one and refine it. Because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey everybody, it's Scoots, and it is time to talk about our Patreon. It keeps the show going. You may have heard me in the Sleepy Supporter Zone hear from a lot of people who aren't in a position to support the show. So if you are, and you get value out of the show for yourself, we've got exciting news. Subscriber summer's coming up. Not only to get to support the show, staying free for everybody else, but you get more stuff. Best of both worlds, right? If you sign up now, you'll get access to all the stuff we got coming out this summer. You do not want to miss out. We're going to have tons of exclusive content just for patrons and subscribers, but there's already thousands of episodes in the $10 and $20 feed. I think there's over 2,000 different things to listen to. So there's something for everyone. A few patrons love the ad-free episodes. Others prefer the all-intro episodes, and still others prefer the story-only episodes. There's also the all-night compilations of old series, bonus content like Fearless Flyers, exclusive Star Trek TNG episodes. And if you're a regular listener, you like to pick and choose your favorites, Patreon's the way to go. We're able to put a lot of stuff in there that wouldn't work in the free feed, like on-location episodes and more. So don't wait. Check it out at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone in the Deep Dark Night United. That's what I forgot what was important about the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Somehow, thinking about the show and the future of the show and, getting in between my ears. And I got so much feedback on that survey on the sponsor page. And the majority of it was either people that aren't in a position to support the show or that just get so much out of the podcast. And that's what the Sleepy Supporter Zone was always about, is celebrating the people that take action so the show can be free for everybody, because Sleep With Me is supported by direct action, either through people supporting the sponsors or supporting the show. And I totally forgot about that in all of my concerns around the podcast. So I apologize, and we'll get back to celebrating and the people that supported the sponsors, and let the sponsors know about it. Let me know about it. For the time being, though, I'm thanking the people that took the time to give me that feedback and re-energize it. I guess I forgot to be excited about the Sleepy Supporter Zone. So the main thing is, if you do support a sponsor, Helix, Air Doctor, AquaTrue, ZocDoc, please let me know about it and let them know about it so I can thank you, because that's what the Sleepy Supporter Zone is all about, is you taking action to support the show for everybody else and for you. And I also want to thank some of those people that did it, Bryn, Patrick, Audrey, and Megan, and all the anonymous people who did it. Thank you so much. So I'll probably rebrand this Sleepy Supporter Zone, the Deep Dark Night United. That's something I've had in my mind for a while because we do it together. That's what all the feedback reminded me. We're together in the Deep Dark Night. Deep Dark Night United. It does sound like a little bit like a little footballer thing. But thank you so much, everybody who took the time to let me know what you get out of the show and how important keeping it free for everybody is. And realizing that's what it's really all about, those feelings. Like the reason we do the Sleepy Supporter Zone is to give the people that did that, took action, good feels. So I hope if you heard your name or you took action, you know how much I appreciate it. And so many other people do. And that is the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, no, it's not. There's support for listeners. If you're in need right now, there's links you could take, like links you could connect with if you're having a tough time, including international resources. It's also about taking action to be a part of positive change, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but learning more and doing stuff. And there's links to resources where you could do that right in our show notes. And one of the things we're taking action on is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness, supporting the Midnight Mission. You could do all those things at through our show notes, or you could learn more about the Midnight Mission just by Googling the Midnight Mission. Now, that is the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people work hard helping out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound or on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. Don't forget you can get your sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. Those are official Sleep With Me branded sleep phones with the Sleep With Me swag on there. Use Sleep With Me at checkout to get $5 off your order. And that's it. What do you say? We slow it down and get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. We're going to do the rest. What we're going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, like thoughts, you're thinking thoughts about the past, the present, the future, or thoughts about all those things. It could be, thinking stuff. A lot of times it seems perfectly sensible at bedtime. I can't think of an example of it, but like maybe that would be it. It'd be like, okay, I'm ready for bed now. I bombed my toes. I got something aerating. I got noises. I got comforting airflow. And now I'm just gonna start to think. My brain says, you know what I was thinking about? No, I don't want it. Well. It's pretty, okay, but it's pretty important. I don't think you remembered it either. And, it's the kind of thing we'd want to develop a checklist for. But if you're not interested, it's your life, go ahead. And so that's kind of what my brain does at bedtime. That's the thoughts. Then there's feelings. Sometimes the feelings are there first, and sometimes the feelings are there after the thoughts. Sometimes they're the chicken, sometimes they're the egg, but most of the time they're both their own big bangs. They predate the chicken and the egg. They've echoed throughout the history of my existence. And I'm feeling them. So the feelings are mysteriously there. Not that the big bang's a mystery. It's a mystery to me. I mean, or I say, I have a general understanding because you call it a Big Bang. I get that. I said, whoever titled it that, nice job because, and luckily, here's the thing, here's a tangent I don't think I've gone on. That's great I'm really happy no one's ever tried to compete. I mean, there was the show, The Big Bang Theory, but that didn't take anything away from the term The Big Bang. And even when it's used in other parlance, it never, like, there's no competition for the big, I mean, you say, of course, this is common sense, man. That there's really, I would think people be competing for the Big Bang. I mean, you're telling me reasonably you don't have at least a modicum of surprise that no one's tried to co-opt. I mean, you could say that's co-opting the Big Bang, but it really isn't. It's just using the Big, the term or our familiarity with the Big Bang. I'm not actually, this is not a bit either. I'm totally, stunned that, the Big Bang, it's probably one of the best titled things, and someone had to come up with it. And I'm sure there's probably, I'm not, this is true. So let me know. There's probably like 10 different podcasts that have done a high quality episode about the term the Big Bang out there that are all like interesting to listen to, and the term and the history of the term. But what I was thinking is like, no one's ever, I mean, maybe people have, and I'm just not aware of it in this moment. That's usually what gets me into trouble. But I've never, there's other stuff that I can't think. Well, Garden of Eden. I mean, if you've ever been in like Garden of Eden, that's been a little diluted. Well, it could be diluted, but diluted. Comparatively, right? Like, but the Big Bang, I don't think it's been diluted yet or diluted. I'm diluted, believe me. So all these statements may be examples of my own delusion. Is anybody agreeing with me? I think there is a small percentage of people that are like, you're right. It's pretty, is this a correct use of the word ubiquitous? I would say Garden of Eden, you got Noah's Ark. You'd say, okay, well, yeah. But that's kind of, and those are more like they're part of a mythology, or let's not get into that. But they're part of, they have a story with them. The Big Bang's purely cosmic, right? I mean, maybe someone out there is like, no, those when Zeus did a thunderclap, and I'd say, are you sure? Because I thought the Big Bang predated Zeus. That's why I was like, they don't have to say the biggest bang. It's just implied. It was the Big Bang because it's only, like, if it wasn't the Big Bang, there'd be no bangs. And you know what I'm saying? I thought we were introducing a sleep podcast and we're talking about feelings. Yeah, this is one of these things I go on, which is a superfluous tangent, but I'll explain that in a minute. But thanks for helping me get back on topic. But there would be no sleep with me. I mean, don't you think, like, no one else is surprised? I mean, maybe it's only been in parlance for like 50 years, and that's why. I don't know. I mean, and maybe it's just this is why the sleep podcast works. You're already not listening to me. Well, where I'm perplexed. Or I'm just curious to say, I'm trying to think of any other terms that still have a great shine. I mean, the Big Bang, in my opinion, and this is projection, that's the level of self-esteem and confidence the Big Bang would have if it was some sort of sentient being. It'd say, of course, man. And maybe I should, like, I'm rereading, the Douglas Adams trilogy, so the Hitchhiker's Guide trilogy. So this could be why I'm thinking about it. Maybe this was a tangent in the book, and it's just coming out my brain. But so that's just where I'm at, man. But you would say that the Big Bang is not would not, if the Big Bang had sentience. Say, of course, yeah. I mean, I've seen that show. It's cool. No, I've heard that. But yeah, without me, there wouldn't, I wouldn't have, don't worry about it. I did it, man. I did it for you and everybody else. Thing is, I didn't even do it. I was just that, like, let me lay that on you. I don't know. Why is the Big Bang has a 70s swagger to it? Okay, now we got to move on. So thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, whatever is keeping you awake. That's what I was talking about before I went off topic. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could have something coming up. Whatever it is that's keeping you awake, I want you to know you're not alone. I might not be going through whatever it is that's keeping you up. I might have gone through it, but I can probably relate to how it feels. And if I can't, I can guarantee you someone listening right now can. And they know how it feels on the inside. And that's one of the reasons I make the show. I know how it feels. There's a ton of other people nodding right now. People tearing up. I'm not, this is how much people care. And how much they relate because they've been there and they know how it feels. And what we want, and I'll explain the flip side of it, but it's like, we just want you to know you deserve a good night's sleep. A place you could rest that doesn't like involve a bunch of rigmarole, a bedtime you could feel neutral about or ideally look forward to. And have a routine so you get the rest you need so your life is manageable. And maybe even on a regular basis, you start getting the rest you need and you're out there flourishing. I mean, that's what our world needs more of. You at your best, and not all the time. You don't got to be, just doing your best. Or, you feeling like, hey, I got this. Channeling a little bit of the Big Bang's confidence. I mean, let's spread that Big Bang confidence. I mean, it's not the stuff you can say out loud because people are going to snicker, which is kind of cool. The Big Bang would say, yeah, man. But it is the kind of thing you say, yeah, I need some of that Big Bang swagger. Not like that, but I do need some of that Big Bang swagger. Not like that, though. Like, I do need that, every once in a while. Like, so my life feels more manageable. So that's why I make the show. That's twofold there. Now, the inverse, I did say I would share it. This podcast doesn't work for everybody. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and it almost works for no one on the first try. So give it a few tries and see how it goes. The only reason I say that is because like a million people have told me that through different DMs or messages or in person. And if there's some people that absolutely loathe me at first. And for a lot of people, that doesn't change, but including people that listen to the podcast. But for some people, then they come back and they listen again. They say, "Oh, I get it now. He was just kind of being himself. He was serious about that stuff, but really in a way, a playful way to keep me company, so I could fall asleep, so I don't have to listen to him." So that's why I make the show. Yeah. It does take a few tries. Now, if you already loathe me and you're like, my opinion is not going to ever change, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. That has other sleepy stuff you could check out and try. And hopefully one of those things works for you. So test it out and see how it goes. But, what else? A podcast you don't really listen to. Oh, yeah, this is a podcast you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely listen. I'm here to keep you company, but not to be heard. Some people listen to me in a mumble or across the room. And some people I'm in their headphones or under their pillow. So whatever works for you, but you could just kind of be like, of course you want that Big Bang swagger, not in that way. Just like the Big Bang, not like the Big Bang Theory, but more like the confidence. You see, his sensibility does peter out when you try to explain it. But if the Big Bang was a sentient being, it wouldn't be a human being. But if it had traits, familiar, and we could communicate with it, and it was in a visual medium that I'm trying to describe an audio medium, and the Big Bang had these personality qualities, scooters projecting onto it, that they'd probably be pretty strong in the self-esteem category. I mean, again, if you read like the Hitchhiker's Guide, it could be that the Big Bang's like, whoa, like face palming, But that's, we're not going to get into like a whole Camus, like we don't need to get into that level of, that's when my brain starts thinking about bedtime. How did I fall into that? I should have just stuck with the cheaper jokes about, but it's not like that. So, what do we say? Where were we? Don't really listen to me. I mean, clearly, like, you say, I don't know the difference between an absurdist and nihilist. I couldn't I couldn't tell you the difference between either one. So definitely. So I don't really need to be listened to. The other thing, though, is I'm not really here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep, to be your friend in the deep, dark night, to be your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar cuz, your boar bestie, your neighbor, your boar friend. Like, there's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. That's the reason the shows are over an hour. So you got plenty of time to fall asleep and, like drift off. There's people that can't sleep that are listening. There's people that need a break during the day. So that's, just stick around. You could put episode after episode after episode on. And the show is structured in a very specific way, which can be frustrating to some people, but it comes with like trying to get it out for free to the most amount of people and then be adaptable once you become a regular listener. So the show starts out with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then I say something silly. So you say, I feel seen and welcomed in here, and I kind of get the tone of the show, so maybe I'll check it out. Then there's support, so the show could be free. Then there's a long, meandering intro, which is separate from the support. It's a show within a show, totally separate from the support. And I don't know why those two things get associated with one another. And the reason I constantly point it out is because I don't want you to miss out on the intro. I mean, obviously, I don't even know. I mean, talk about far afield. I'll be thinking about this for weeks. I finally, like, this is so, is this ironic? I don't know what it is. Like, I finally found something I could believe in, and it's the Big Bang. I mean, I'm not saying that, like, in comparison to other beliefs or anything like that. I'm just saying, holy cow, I'm not kidding when I say this. This is like live, interpersonal, internal change. Caught on recording. Internally, my breath has been taken away just thinking about, not even the cosmic level of the Big Bang. Just like, I thought the Big Bang was cool, but in theory, and I'm not even saying, and now I know, if I gave the Big Bang a personality, it would be cool. But there's this other coolness, subtextual coolness that I was never aware of. That's obvious to everybody but me. They say, well, that's obvious. It's the Big Bang, man. It can't be rivaled. But just the fact that, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. If you know the Big Bang, if you know, you know. Oh, man, holy moly. I didn't know. That's why I'm laughing. This is one of those times where it's true. I say, that's where I'm laughing. Okay, so I was explaining, I was going on a tangent about the Big Bang thing, but really what explaining is why the intro goes on and on and on. It's meant to ease you into bedtime, and that's why I don't want you to miss out on it. It's different every time, so your mind can't quite adjust, but it's familiar. And then it could be part of your wind-down routine for most listeners, whether you're getting ready for bed, you're doing some other chill activity, or you're in bed getting comfortable. And it's supposed to be barely humorous to put a smile on your face. That's a part of what helps us when we feel lonely or alone, is saying, oh, well, I can laugh along. That's what gave me the inspiration for the show, is like late-night comedy radio. And I'm not saying I'm funny. I'm humor-like. But that's the whole thing, is to get ready for bed, have something you kind of look forward to or feel neutral about. Like for me, it's reading and petting my dog. And then you get to drift off. So that's what the intro does. It eases you into bedtime. You could skip it or pay to just get story-only episodes. If you want to skip it, you could start the show 20 or 30 minutes But for most people, it's just a transition period. So that's the intro. Then there's support, and then there'll be our episodically modular series, Make Great Pets. And then after that, it'll be, what'll be after that? Oh, thank yous and good nights. And that's why I make the show. I'm so glad you're here. And, it might not work for you, but give it a few tries. You're worth it. Or check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. But I'm really glad you're here. I think it got deleted because I was talking and then the recorder crashed because it ran out of space from my tangents. But I was like, is the Big Bang based on, was Fonzie from the Happy Days? I know not everybody knows that reference. Was Fonzie based on the Big Bang? That's like a very niche question, but just a question that came up now. But anyway, whether you're cosmic or not, I love you, and I'm here to help. I love making the show. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you coming by. I work really hard at your next drive, and I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, home of the Name Your Price tool. You say how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you the coverage options to fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote. Visit Progressive.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Everybody, Scoots here. It's time for our episodically modular series, Make Great Pets. And what episodically modular means, it's funny because I've been watching the show Poker Face. And like I said, I think I said in a couple other ones. So if you sign up for the streaming service, I'll just say it here because it's in the middle of the show, Peacock. I'll just have to delete it if for some reason another company's sponsoring the podcast. But so if you sign up for Peacock streaming service in the U.S., you could watch Poker Face, Antonio Banderas' movie, Puss in Boots movie, and Mrs. Davis, which when I'm recording this has not started airing yet, but it's about to come out. So that's a threefer. I mean, that's definitely would push me over the edge if I heard this on a podcast, somebody saying that. You say, okay. And there's other great stuff on there too, but those are just three things. But I was reading about Poker Face and kind of the influences, and there's some Venn diagram crossover because Quantum Leap got a shout out on there. And Poker Face is very much episodically modular. I'm only laughing because I just love when there's, is that confluence? I don't know. And it does have a touch of seriality to it, but, or it has a story that's going through the episodes, but you could enjoy each episode on its own. And even if you watched the third episode of Poker Face, no kidding. What episode did we just watch? 3 or 4? I think it was 4. Oh, it was definitely 4. And if you watched 4, even though it had a little bit of the story in there, you would be able to figure it out no problem at all, and then go back and watch 1, 2, and 3. And so it's just a way of me that, it's just funny because it's like, okay, that's a way to do the example without the show of what does episodically modular mean? It means with Make Great Pets, if this is episode 9, you could listen to all the other episodes, don't worry about it, because I'm here to put you to sleep and confuse you, but not give you completist thing. Now, if you are a completist, it's totally cool. All the other episodes are up there, ready to go. And that's also why I fill you in on mostly everything you need to know, which is just like the show Poker Face. And I always want to sing it, but I won't. Great music on the show. Doesn't have the song Poker Face thus far that I can remember, which is never, my memory's never reliable. But anyway, so it's episodically modular. It means you can listen to it in any order. I guess that's long-winded. That's what could be sweeter for a sleep podcast. So, and just in full disclosure of how can you also keep talking about episode? Well, this is episode 9. Believe it or not, it's the last episode of the series I'm recording. So tomorrow, I'll be traveling and I'll be starting my work on our next series. But you won't which is still a few months away. Ideally, I get so far in the future that I get 6 episodes, in a perfect world, 8 episodes done by the time you listen to episode 13 of Make Great Pets. And it really has been a pleasure making this series and being here. Always these challenges of these puzzles of the show. I'm so honored and touched that I get to make these puzzles that are here to put you to sleep and keep you company. And Make Great Pets, our main character will fill us in on most of the details, but it's about a program where pets help people at turning points in their lives. I don't know if I've said this, though, unbeknownst to their pet human companion, though, which most pets would say, that's the story of my life. I'm helping them at multiple turning points. Like, what are you going to do, sit around and relax? No, this is a turning point. It's time for you to give me attention or go for a walk or feed me or pet me or talk about a turning point. Let me turn here because I want to go sniff this tree. So speaking of peacock, this is someone who never has needed to peacock before. But when I see him, I'm not kidding. I internally go peacock, like a sound, an emotional sound like that. He's a person who makes who elicits emotional sounds. Physical, like he was the first person. There's a tree. What is it? Is that a treaty or a thesis out there? Or there'd be a thesis statement. He's the person that made it possible for scientists to hear the limbic system, to hear the limbic system, and his reactions. Our limbic system reacts to him in ways that are perfect for a sleep podcast because it's refreshing. It inspires relaxation, confidence, and a joy of living. And that man's name is Mr. Antonio Banderas. The friends beyond the binary, the ladies, the gentlemen, the boys and girls, it's time to make great pets. Meow. Now, in the movie that we can watch on that service, he's shaking. He refuses all plugs. I don't know if he meows like that. That's what I was going to ask him. But he's just smiling, though, which is making it hard to record a sleep podcast. Now he's silently laughing with his head back, like almost like I wish I had a camera because I'd be just in yet another Antonio Banderas meme that brings me joy. Oh, that's a GIF or a GIF, he said. Not a meme. The man who needs no memes. Because he just his presence really isn't that the definition of a meme? Like, you're the limbic meme. I don't know if that's a thing, but you should be called that. The limbic meme. Mr. Antonio Banderas, and this is Make Great Pets. Hello, everyone. My name's Rin, and if you're listening to this recording, you're listening to it. Hardy har har. Well, hopefully you're paying attention. My name is Rin. I'm a part of a program. Maybe you're a part of this program, or maybe you're listening to it for some other reasons. Or maybe the program has gone even more independent where they just give you these recordings. But I'm a part of a program, a training program, where I'm recording my daily journals within the subconscious of a pet, I believe, or within a sleeping pet. And the program, I'm on the post-earthly stage of my existence, and as a part of my introduction to the post-earthly worlds, they said, "Would you want to be a part of a program to help people at turning points in their lives?" And when they say that, I'm on Earth, I didn't always view that as an opportunity because I did say, well, I was hoping for some virgin pina coladas and getting caught in the warm rain briefly, and then beaching, maybe a moped, swimming, and they patted me on the back and they said, or you could be a part of this program to help people at a turning point in their lives. I think you'd be great for it. And I said, and they said, it's a training program where you will go in, Rin, you'll be going into a pet, and your human companion or a human companion, that you may have to uncover which one it is, will be at a turning point in their lives, and you're there to help them. And you won't have total control over the pet. It's not like you become a talking pet. You're going to have to subtly help them. It's challenging. And we did get body awareness training and stuff like that, but the program is still in development, or it was. Why a program? That was my first question. I said, don't you have that? Isn't that already taken care? I mean, I didn't remember. I had an imaginary friend. I don't remember having a guardian angel, but I thought about it. And they said, Ren, the reason, I mean, at first I felt they said, if the reason you didn't have a guardian, the reason you don't remember your guardian angel, Ren, is you didn't have one. And at first I said, oh no, but they said no one did because of the Bessos Penny Sears incidents. And they filled me in on, and some of that I'd heard of, but not the non-earthbound stuff. But basically, J.C. Rich, R.W. Sears, J.C. Penney, and some Bessos or somebody, they got rid of one of the post-earthly existence that was non-pot for people who made not great choices, which I think a lot of us would have said good riddance, no thank you anyway. And most people wouldn't know. They would have said, "Why? No, I'm not going there. Of course not. I've done, whatever. I've spit before or whatever." But so they got rid of that. Then somehow, I'm not sure what happened with the guardian angels there, but they came up with a program, a bit like an internet startup, where they were said, because they said, we still have to have a place for everybody that didn't make great choices. And they said, well, what about some sort of rehabilitation program where those people go back to Earth to help people make better choices? And I don't know, what the committee meeting was like, but they said, okay, so people that made not great choices are going to go back to Earth with powers. I guess that was the part where they really, with angelic powers to help people make better choices. And that actually, good thing there's backups, because that Earth, it worked out like you'd imagine. I don't know how it worked. It didn't work out, I guess. So then in another time period, there was and maybe, I don't know if it's parallel or not, but there was another guardian angel program. In this guardian angel program, whoever was running it, or the committee of leaders or leader, whatever, they were on sabbatical. Now, angels were running the show, including the guardian angel program. And you could take the humans out of Earth, but you can't take the humanity out of humans. That's one thing I've been reminded of. And actually, it's good that I'm a part of a training program, because they say, okay, well, I'm just training. And that ended up where that program was de-existed in that world. I don't know. But so they said, okay, maybe we need to try something smaller scale. And apparently this is one of the programs I'm becoming more and more aware of. But our program, we go to a pet, it's a turning point in the people's lives, and we try to help them. And usually I start out by telling you all that in case you're listening. And then I tell you the who, what, because I'm in a pet right now. Now, I'm a dog named Latte, and I'm very cute, but I can't see myself totally. I've chased my tail around, but I'm cute. I'm a cute, smaller dog. And I'm working with a human named Cornelius, and they have a nickname Corn Dog, which is what they've been mostly referred to. Not an insulting nickname, just Cornelius Corn Dog. So it's pretty clear for me that I'm there this is an easy one as far as who am I there to help, Cornelius, because I'm I've been in and out of a carrier. I'm pretty good off leash. I don't run away. But I've thought about it, but only as me. But Latte doesn't, Latte stays close to Cornelius. And I'm trained in all that, and I can communicate my needs if I'm hungry, thirsty, tired, or have to use a restroom, which is, proper, appropriate places outdoors. And, okay. Oh, what else do you need to, also Cornelius is a engineer. I don't understand beyond that, but we're with a bunch of other engineers, but I don't think like a girder or building engineers or fixing something mechanical engineers. But they're all coworkers and they're on so who, what, where, when. So it's nighttime. Everybody's asleep now. It's the end of our first day. And I woke up this morning when we were on our way from a hotel to a place where we were going to spend a few days as a part of a work, well, believe it or not, for Cornelius, Corndog, as a part of a work opportunity for fun, adventure, apparently. But it's become clear that it's also there's evaluations going on and opportunities, or that's what Cornelius and the other engineers have been talking about. And it's at this really cool, absolutely not really cool is underselling it, an absolutely amazing facility that you would have no idea is a facility. It's an immersive, these things that got popular, different than a theme park, but an immersive experience, art experience. But this is one that you get to sleep in, and I assume the company paid for it, as a part of, you get to go into this experience and have an experience. And I'm not doing a great job of explaining it other than to say, we took a thing out into the middle of nowhere. And then there was, we were in a room where we had breakfast and, where we got ready for everything. And it went over everything. So we're with the who, what, where, when. So it was morning. Well, let me tell you where I have to get to, though. Where we are now is it's not moving, but it's in a semi-truck, a tractor trailer. And inside the back of the tractor trailer is a bunkhouse with restroom, like just a bathroom. Well, I'll get into more of the explaining of the details, but it's a place to sleep for all the coworkers, though we're sleeping in the cab, which I'll explain as well. So the bunkhouse or the back of the semi-truck is a bunkhouse. And so this is an immersive adventure. So before we went in, we had breakfast, and we were told that then we had a bunch of trainings, which were not super interesting. But first it was like work stuff, and I didn't really pay attention because it was engineering stuff and people like talking about leadership. And none of the Corn Dog's workers seemed super interested either. And they're all really nice, but I'm not super focused on them, right? There's just a group of them. Also, I guess I have feelings about it a little bit, but we'll talk about that. Then they had someone from the facility come, and they reassured everybody, and they went over everything, which were the basic rules. And then they went over again the mission, which are intertwined. So the short version, and this took a long time until like after lunch. I guess the work stuff took a while. Then the lunch, then the reassurance part. Again, because everyone, particularly Corn Dog and the coworkers, they weren't. All they knew is they were going on a work retreat. That's what they said, where you'll be evaluated and an opportunity for advancement. Performance pressure, basically, is what they were saying. So then they said, okay, you're going to go into this facility. It's an immersive adventure. Your mission is to have an adventure. there's not many rules. Remember, you still are at work, even though you're not doing work. So behave as you would with your coworkers in your work. This isn't like you're going off to, whatever, to party hard or anything. But and also remember that, your job is to have an adventure. And this facility offers a bunch of opportunities for adventure. Within the facility, where will be comfortable places to sleep that you'll need to discover, and plenty of food to eat, and water to drink, and restrooms to use that you will also need to discover. Some of it will be very easy to discover, and some of it you will discover as part of your adventure. And any other rules than that, there will be ways to let you know if you're breaking any rules. But really, you want to go into this in the mindset of you're having a work-appropriate adventure. And then there was a lot of questions, like, can we get, is the food going to be good? Yes. Oh, boy, will it be good. Is there going to be treats and snacks and candy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. This is more like a work adventure. So, yeah, don't worry. And there was just a lot of things. They said, don't worry, people are watching. There's staff there. You won't encounter any staff probably. Because they said, well, is this going to be like a mystery dinner? And they said, no, it's just going to be all of you. And there will be other things going on. But you won't encounter any other humans. And they said, okay. And they said, people kept trying to, and they said, can you define adventure? Blah, blah, just have fun, but, challenge yourselves. It's there for your fun and your experience. But mostly Cornelius and their coworkers kind of only saw, other than being impressed, even some of them were like, well, why are they, couldn't they just have given us a bonus? How much is this costing? But so they were mostly focused on the non-positives and what could go wrong. Because they said, okay, remember, they're watching us to keep an eye on us, but also they're watching us for work, which maybe took some of the fun out of it. So eventually, later after lunch and all this, but for me as an observer, as Latte the dog, I found it very refreshing. I said, okay, well, This sounds good. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be it sounds like an adventure. Now, I have also been waking up in random pets and trying to help people. So I feel like I've been on an interactive adventure myself. So I bring that. Okay. So then they got ready, and then people had brought their like a backpack with a couple changes of clothes and their bathroom stuff, and no tech or anything. No tech allowed. Wouldn't work in there, they said anyway. So their stuff was examined, which again, they said, well, this is, nobody was, everybody's outside their comfort zone. But they kept saying, trust us, this is going to be great. And I was listening to those parts, and I didn't suspect anything other than that Corn Dog and the other engineers were like, well, I don't know if I like this when I could be at home relaxing. Or I would even prefer to be at work other than having to perform. This felt like a performative act. It was for work, I guess. Okay, so eventually we went into another room that was a bit like a theme park. Those boats you have on theme parks, the ride with Caribbean Adventure or the Little World of Children, or there's there's other rides like that. You get into a big boat and it's in a canal. Now this one had a place in the back to put everybody's backpacks. But again, you just got in and they sat there. And they set off, and it was kind of boring. You just went through a canal. It was even fluorescent lights. And it just went a couple switchbacks, I guess to throw everybody off. Or I don't know if they were locating us in a certain place. And then we went into a tunnel room where the boat stopped. or I guess, tunnel. I guess a tunnel. That's what I was calling it. A room like a big tunnel. And the boat stopped there. And then there was a neon sign that said, exit the boat and choose a door. No, it said choose a portal, which is a fancy word for doors. So they got everything out of their boats, and then they were discussing what time it was, and that it was like not dinner time, but almost dinner time. And then they kind of had already discussed all this, but they rediscussed it. And in some sense, okay, so Cornelius is the most experienced in life compared to the coworkers. Not so much of an age difference, and not in a supervisory role over any of the coworkers. They are coworkers, but they decided, I think, in a twofold way that I wasn't comfortable with. One, no one wanted to choose a door or a portal, I guess, a portal. And no one wanted to do it. So it became the thing of like, Cornelius, you do it. So it was like both like, maybe Cornelius is a little bit braver than us, but also setting Cornelius up for anything. Like they said, we're not going to do it. One of the engineers said, you know what? No, I'll just sleep here then. I'll sleep in the boat. And then another neon sign said, you must choose a door or you can't sleep in the boat. That you couldn't see, so that was cool. So Corn Dog said, fine. Like first was irritated, but they were like digging in. And said, no one's going to go with me? They said, no, you could go ahead and check it out for us. And this is some kind of adventure, Cornelius said. But then Cornelius was like, well, at least I'm adventuring, I guess. So the way the portals worked is that you went through a little bit, then you came to a door. And by the time you got to the door, you couldn't see, you were in a portal or a tube or tunnel enough that you couldn't see anybody. And they were set in the wall. And each one was different. So the first one Cornelius went to had it wasn't a bank vault, but it kind of was like an old fashioned thing like that. It was something that was obvious that you just spin it. And at first, Cornelius tried to spin it right, and then it was like, oh, lefty-loosey. So then it just spun it, and it spun easily. And then the door opened inward, and there were sounds of water. But again, you had to go through further. Now, the door did not close because Cornelius was like standing in the doorway, but you had to go in. Far, like you had to go beyond the door. You couldn't just stay in there. This was like a little bit of an adventure of checking things out. And then Cornelius eventually went into this, went down or went forwards. And then there were stairways. Now Cornelius did not go down the stairways, but stood at the top. And it was like the inside of a fantastical chocolate factory. Like it had elements that were familiar, but also elements that weren't familiar. But it had chocolate smells. It looked like it had candy, like plants and things, and it even had tents and stuff set up. But there was also like music in the water. And then Cornelius is like, huh? Like Cornelius had memories of like a dull sense of foreboding. But I thought it was cool. Now I was like, okay, well, no chocolate for dogs. I'm not sure if that water was actually chocolate or just chocolate smelling water. So Cornelius left. Then the door shut behind Cornelius after we walked out. Then Cornelius, so that was the center door. Then Cornelius went through the portal on the left, which was a garage door. Which had a thing that you turned and then you just pulled it up. It was big, but it was light. And maybe it had some sort of thing helping. And then Cornelius went through that one, and then you had to go left. And did this one go downstairs or upstairs? This one went down and to the left. And this one was a little bit more of a walk, not a ton, but, whatever. There was a giant factory there. And then you went and it was getting towards evening now because and then Cornelius exited into the outdoors, this was absolutely breathtaking. I'll be honest with you. You came out and you were outdoors, and it took a while to figure out because, again, it was getting towards dusk. The sun was no longer in the sky, but the sky was above us. It was not an indoor-outdoor. It was an outdoor-indoor in the sense of we were basically in a gigantic courtyard. And in front of us lay a road, Route 66 was the road. And not that and it must have been forced perspective or something. And to the right was like a mountain range, but it was obviously a theme parky mountain range. And to the front, it was like, again, forced perspective. It just looked like it went off into the distance to the front of us, right? That's what I said. But it was still huge. I'm underselling it. And then to the left, it looked like trees and maybe a building, like obscured by not real trees, maybe some real trees. And then not that far down the road, we walked a little bit because Cornelius couldn't believe it, the scale of it. Like theme park scale, but no people. But there was a gas station with a store and then a semi-truck. And then Cornelius said, okay, and the gas station lights were on, and there was some area music or radio playing. Then Cornelius went back through the door. The door closed behind him. Then we went to the last door on the right. Now, meanwhile, every time this two times, the first time we left, they said, what did you see? Cornelius said, don't worry about it. And then just went through the other door. Now they said, what did you see? Cornelius said, that one looks promising, but I'll check this one out first. Now, this one had, one of those, what do you call them? What are those things called? Escalators. And you went through and you got on an escalator and it went up. First you went through sets of beads. So there wasn't actually a door, but there was tons of beads hanging down. 30 feet of thick beads you had to weave your way through, which Cornelius didn't like. And then Cornelius went up the escalator. And then basically this became there was a bass thumping and lights flashing and rainbow stuff. And Cornelius kind of went in and it seemed to be some sort of giant, I don't know. Cornelius was like, no, as soon as we saw that, there's laser beams, fog machine. So we couldn't get a sense of this. Cornelius was like, no. So then Cornelius went back eventually to the group and they said, okay, what do you think? And Cornelius said, the door on the left. And they said, why? And Cornelius said, this door right here is some sort of rave or something. I don't know. And they said, what do you mean? In pulsing lights and bass thumping? And Cornelius said, yeah. And they said, what about the middle door? And Cornelius said, maybe some sort of weird chocolate factory or candy factory, but it seems ominous. And they said, sounds ominous. And then they said, what's in the last room? And he said, it's not a room. He goes, this is it's outdoor. He goes, it's not indoor, outdoor, it's outdoor, indoor. And they said, what do you even mean? He goes, I don't even know. You got to see it. He goes, but it's a road like Route 66. And he goes, I don't know. There's a forest and mountains and the road goes on. I can't tell what's perspective for, he goes, I can't tell what's real or what's not. So I can't tell how far the road goes. And there's a gas station. There's this truck parked out front and stuff. And they said, did the gas station have a store? That's what made this company famous was one of their store, and Cornelius said, yeah. So, okay, let's go there. So basically we came through the door and everybody was happy. We went to the gas station. It was unlocked. And there was, it was stocked and it had like an automat. So there was like an automat with food, like dinner food, and really nice dinner food, because obviously maybe there's someone I don't know how that works. But there was machines with drinks, there was coolers with drinks, there was tons of snacks, there was even breakfast food, nacho cheese and nachos, all, like, everybody was so happy. And so they were doing that. I said, well, where can we sleep, you think? And then they went out, they were kind of standing outside. There's places to sit, and they saw other buildings down the road, but then they were like, are those real or not? Because it had become nighttime, right? And they were all like, well, let's just, and then somebody thought of the truck. Now, meanwhile, two people went off to look at the truck, and they said, maybe can we drive this thing? And they said, the cab's locked. And then they went around back, and they said, the back of the cab's open. Holy cow. And then that's how they discovered, they said, this is a bunkhouse. And then someone else at some point had to use a restroom. And they said, there's a full, this is like a truck, these trucker bathrooms where there's showers and soap and towels and everything, like hotel bathroom quality in this fake convenience store. Meanwhile, Cornelius was also just looking at some of the details and noticed the truck keys and pocketed the truck keys. And then, everybody got ready for bed because there was some bathrooms and bunks and not just bunk beds, but these are fancy. And then everybody was getting ready to sleep. And then Cornelius took me for a walk and then tried the keys in the truck and then got in the truck. And then turned on the truck to see if the radio was working. And then there was a CB on there. And Cornelius has always had a thing for CBs. So Cornelius got on the CB and said, check, breaker, hey, out there. And then someone came back. Mama Cindy Lou Who was on there. And Cornelius said, go ahead, Mama Cindy Lou. And she said, driving through the night, trying to keep things right. Who's out there? But, over. And then said, this is Corn Dog. How you doing, Corn Dog? Not great. We're supposed to be on an adventure. And they kind of went back and forth with basically and again, that's what's the hard part about being the pet. You can listen, but they don't always want to talk to you, you're humans. And there was something about knowing someone was listening. So Cornelius kind of went through all the stuff with the coworkers. And we're being watched. Maybe you're even my boss right now. But it's, I'm not sure if it's right that we're supposed to have an adventure when we don't know what it means. But this is an adventure. And then Mama Cindy Lou Who said, maybe if that's the kind of job you're at, do you like your job? I actually do enjoy my job a lot. And but Cindy Lou Who said, maybe you should think about a new career if this is the case. You don't have to go on an adventure if you don't want to. And sounds like you're on it. Sounds like your adventure's going pretty good. So then Cornelius said, okay, I feel better now, and went to bed. And I'm in bed with Cornelius. I'm the only pet, by the way, on this trip. But yeah, so I'll talk to you tomorrow, I guess. Okay, it's me, Rin, and lots to fill you in on day 2 and 3. Holy moly, am I sleeping. So we got up the next day, and everybody slept really good. And then we had breakfast, and they said, okay, Cornelius, get out there and adventure. And Cornelius said, isn't this an adventure? Can't we just hang out here? And they said, at least, no, you got to explore. Go down and see if those buildings are real first. And because they looked more real now that the sun was up. And actually you could kind of see that there was some sort of fake mountain ahead on the road. And there was a tunnel going through that. And so Cornelius said, okay. So then Cornelius, first we went to the town, which really wasn't that far. It wasn't a town, but it was a pizza place. Edge of Adventure Pizza was called. And you couldn't see, like, it was like a thing with a virtual order. So Cornelius is like, okay, wow, the engineers are going to like this. Then almost their motel. Cornelius is like, holy cow, there's a motel, like, right within walking distance. And then there was another gas station, gas, gulp, and keep going. And so Cornelius said, great. So then Cornelius said, okay, well, I still got a little time. So we kept going on the road. And eventually, yeah, there was a tunnel going into this mountain. Obviously not, because whatever. So then Cornelius, to their credit, we went through the tunnel. We started walking, and there was even a sidewalk. So we stayed on the sidewalk, even though there was no cars. And the tunnel wasn't that long. And then the tunnel exited to the exact opposite, like an indoor-outdoor thing. But it seemed like it was unbelievably grand, and it was one of those things where it was the ceilings must have been curved to look like a so it was a water tank right in front of us. And we had to go a while on the road. So at first it looked, maybe we were outdoors for a while. I don't know how they did it because I'm just a dog, right? But eventually, it's like where they used to film water scenes in films with ships. So it looked like like an endless ocean, but it was like a little beach in the water. And I actually got in the water. And Cornelius was like, no. And the water was nice. And then to the right of that, kind of built into the wall, was like a Victorian-style beach resort. And, Cornelius said no, again, like the idea, was too ominous or something. So then we started heading back, and we got back, and Cornelius told everybody about, no, it wasn't quite lunchtime yet, but everybody was happy. And they said, let's reload to the motel. So then we took everybody's stuff, and we went to the motel, and they said, maybe this is it. Like, this is the adventure. And they were like, kind of like a staycation, and everybody got their own room, but the rooms were adjoining, and on the inside it was nicer than a motel. But there was old-fashioned TVs playing like old-fashioned shows, which was like curated and different in each room. So everybody was excited, but they said, Cornelius, you better keep scouting stuff out, though, and keep looking, and come back and meet us for lunch. And so then Cornelius went across, because you could see, so if you were looking towards headed towards the beach resort, on the right side of the road, off in the faux distance, was mountain range. And so we walked towards the mountain range, and eventually we found like an opening, and it was a cave. And Cornelius was like, oh, no. But we said, okay. So when we went into the cave, and there was painting supplies, and there was fake kind of like candlelight burning, not actual burning, but, flickering lights. And then as we stayed in there, they were flickering to black lights. So then you could see other things written on the ceiling in black light, mostly art. And then Cornelia said, we're not going to, this is too artistic, too much pressure. So we left the thing. Then we went back for lunch, because that actually took a little while. And Cornelius told them, and they said, yeah, Noble Victorian Beach Resorts. So you're right on that, Cornelius. And they said, no painting. We don't want to do any cave painting and have our painting evaluated. And they said, are you going to check the forest out? Then Cornelius went off to the forest, which was like obscuring another big building that we went into, but it was also like, that was another indoor-outdoor, like we were in a forest. And then we got to a path, which went in two different directions. And so first Cornelius went right. And the path wound, and things got a little more darker and dim. But then there was something shiny and sparkling ahead. And Cornelius got to it, and it was a yellow brick road. It was actually gold brick road. Or I guess yellowish gold. And Cornelius said, no way. And so then we walked back to the split in the path and we went the other way. And then we started to I smelled gingerbread and peppermint, and so did Cornelius. And then we came to a clearing, and across the clearing was a gingerbread, full-size gingerbread home with peppermint and stuff. And Cornelius said, no, 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 no. So then we got back, and everybody was pretty happy to hang out at the motel. And we ate pizza, and then Cornelius went back to the truck, and I went back to this truck. And there's just all these long discussions that I had to listen to between Mama Cindy Lou, or whatever, and Cornelius kind of venting and saying, like, is this going to count as an adventure? I'm doing all the adventuring anyway. And Mom Cindy Lou saying, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. But for me, it wasn't fine, I'll be honest. And I was like, this is just some sort of turning point here, clearly. And I'm not sure what to do. And I'd already gotten this thing about these, like, other people. And I said, is this part of the interactive adventure, this Mama Cindy Lou? Or is this some sort of rivalry program? I don't know. But I do know that, no, I'm listening. And so Corn Dog said, I like this job. And I know that they're just kind of yeah, this is kind of adventure. But there was one more like a clear kind of cave on that other side without the painting room. And Cornelius was kind of like, forget it. And so I decided, first I started running around trying to play to get, and I had tried this a couple other times, to be like, hey, get a sense of play, Cornelius, hello. But that didn't work. So I just ran off, and then would wait, and then Cornelius would run after me. And I said, well, I guess, and then I ran to the cave, and I looked back, and then faked it, because I couldn't force things, right? I said, well, if I run into the cave, and then, but I made sure, like, I was like barking in a happy bark, and then Cornelius got to the entrance of the cave. Now, by this time, it was getting towards evening again. And I know the other engineers were probably eating pizza and getting ready for bed, because that's what Cornelius said. Everybody's probably eating pizza and getting ready for bed. Because you could just put your pizza order in, and then almost like an automat, it came out on this conveyor belt. And there was also like other things you could order for dessert and stuff. But Cornelius said, okay, we'll check this out. And I licked, I barked and I licked and I jumped and then Cornelius said, I really do like, I didn't do anything really other than that, because Cornelius said, well, I do like my job. And eventually this cave kind of wound through, but there was no paintings or anything, but there was wafting smells, cinnamon, popcorn, and kind of carnival music and stuff like that. And we exited, and there was this night carnival with like market lights and rides and booths, and it was well lit. And Cornelius said, and I said, well, so you're comfortable with a night carnival, or a carnival you've discovered at night, but you're not comfortable with Victorian beachside resort or a chocolate or candy factory? But I couldn't say that. And Cornelius started to walk around and, cotton candy. That was the first thing Cornelius got. And went down a super slide, which was bigger than a normal super slide. And then we went down it again, and Cornelius, first time I was in Cornelius's lap. The second time we went down next to each other, but with Cornelius's hand on my sack, like I was sitting on the sack you ride in. And just the idea of the double Ferris wheel. And actually every ride had instructions, and it was clear that there was monitoring going on so that the rides were safe for us to use. And there was games and so Cornelius just kept discovering things and then went back. We said, let's go get everybody, and then woke everybody up and said, you got to check this night carnival out. And, there's even a fun house, but I don't like that one. I prefer we all go in together, but it doesn't seem ominous at all. It's like a fun night carnival. And then everybody came, we all went to the night carnival and stayed there and lost track of time. That by the time we went back to the motel, it was daytime, middle of the day. And then it was then it was like this broadcast on TVs and stuff saying, hey, 2 hours, basically saying return to the boat. And so then we made our way back to the boat, and they said, oh, don't worry about cleaning up or anything. Just bring all your stuff, or if you forget everything, don't worry, we'll find it and give it to you. And then we went back, and everybody was really tired, right? And that's when I felt like I fell asleep. But it seems like Cornelius had an adventure. And, I'm a happy dog. I'm sleeping. So I think that's it. I don't know what'll happen with Cornelius's job or evaluations, or was that considered a good enough adventure or not, but it was pretty nice. So, yeah, I'll try to, I'll try to, what do you call it? I don't know. I guess I'm going to, I don't think I'll be back. I think everything's all set. And, so I'm going to rest. Latte the dog and Cornelius saying goodnight, everybody sleep well. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. I want to thank Dennis, Charlie, and Natalie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jeremy, Molly, and Jan. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Brent, Amos, and Lisa. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Christine, Christelle, and Danielle. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Heather and Liliana. Thank you. Thanks. Again. Thanks everybody who supports the show directly on Apple Podcasts or on Patreon, supports our sponsors, or spreads the word about the show, or does anything else to support the podcast. Couldn't do it without any of you. Thank you. Thanks so much, and good night.